Donald Trump has always been a polarizing figure, loved by millions but deeply hated by many more. But in 2025, the divide is widening like never before. Certain U.S. states have not only rejected Trump's politics, they outright despise him, and the reasons run deeper than you might think. From legal battles and cultural clashes to demographic shifts and political realignments, this growing hatred is reshaping America's political landscape. Today, we're diving into the top 10 states that hate Donald Trump in 2025 and why it's only getting worse. Number 10, Colorado. Colorado's relationship with Donald Trump has been icy for years, but in 2025, it's grown even colder. This once purple state has shifted decisively blue, with voters becoming increasingly repelled by Trump's politics. In the 2020 election, Trump lost Colorado by nearly 14 points. Fast forward to 2024, and his support shrank further, down to just 37% compared to Biden's 60%, according to certified results from the Colorado Secretary of State. But it's not just election numbers that paint the picture. Trump's 2025 approval rating in Colorado is a dismal 29%, with 62% actively disapproving based on Gallup's March state-by-state approval survey. The divide is sharpest in urban and suburban counties. Denver, Boulder, and increasingly Jefferson and Arapahoe counties, once battlegrounds, now reject Trumpism with overwhelming consistency. Education plays a big role. Over 55% of Colorado adults hold a bachelor's degree or higher, and national trends show college-educated voters, especially suburban women, are among Trump's fiercest critics. On top of that, Trump's climate change denial is particularly unpopular in a state ravaged by wildfires and droughts. In a recent poll by the Colorado College State of the Rockies Project, 72% of Coloradans supported stricter environmental protections, directly contradicting Trump's energy agenda. Culturally, Colorado's outdoor, health-conscious, libertarian-leaning population views Trump's abrasive tone and populist rhetoric as deeply off-putting. His opposition here isn't just political, it's visceral. Number 9, Vermont. Vermont has always been politically progressive, but in 2025, its rejection of Donald Trump borders on absolute. The Green Mountain State gave Trump just 31% of the vote in 2024, and his approval rating this year has dropped to an astonishing 22%, one of the lowest in the country. This level of disapproval is deeply rooted in Vermont's unique cultural and political identity. It's the home of Bernie Sanders, a state senator who represents the ideological opposite of Trump in nearly every policy area. Vermont has built a reputation as a haven for grassroots democratic socialism, environmental protection, universal healthcare advocacy, and progressive taxation, all anathema to Trumpism. What makes Vermont especially immune to Trump's influence is its high civic engagement and independence. Over 63% of Vermonters identify as independents, not beholden to party loyalty, meaning they judge candidates by action, not branding. According to a 2025 Pew Research report, Vermont is one of the least religious states in America, and Trump's heavy appeals to evangelical voters fall flat here. Add to that its racial and ethnic homogeneity, 92% white, which blunts Trump's usual scapegoating tactics around immigration or minority crime. Vermonters pride themselves on small government transparency, local decision-making, and ethical leadership. Trump's authoritarian posturing, chaotic messaging, and legal entanglements run counter to those values. The backlash here is principled, not just partisan. Number 8, Maryland. In 2025, Maryland has become one of Trump's most hostile territories, not just in terms of voting behavior, but in how its residents talk about and organize against him. During the 2024 election, Trump earned only 32% of Maryland's vote, and his approval rating in 2025 stands at just 27%, according to Morning Consult's state-level polling. The real story, though, lies in the demographics and the growing civil resistance against Trumpism in the state. The D.C. metro region, which includes Montgomery and Prince George's counties, comprises a large, highly educated, majority black population. These areas voted more than 80% against Trump, and that opposition has only intensified due to ongoing national debates over race, police reform, and reproductive rights. Maryland is also home to a moderate Republican movement that's openly defied Trump's influence, Former Governor Larry Hogan, a critic of Trump, remains a popular figure among Maryland conservatives. In the 2024 Republican primary, Trump-backed candidates underperformed, especially in suburban districts. The Maryland GOP is now fractured, with Hogan Republicans actively purging Trump-style populism from the party. From climate policy to public education, Maryland consistently champions policies Trump opposes, including strong public school investment, gun safety reforms, and environmental regulation of the Chesapeake Bay. Trump's abrasive style doesn't just lose elections here. It motivates bipartisan rejection. In 2025, even former Trump voters in Maryland are turning the page, and the data shows it. Number 7, California. California, the most populous state in the nation, has long been a thorn in Trump's side. But in 2025, the rift has widened into a political canyon. Trump received just 31% of the vote in 2024, and his approval rating currently sits at 24%, according to Public Policy Institute of California. In urban centers like Los Angeles, San Francisco, and Oakland, Trump's support is even lower. In some districts, he polls under 20%. But what makes California unique is that its opposition to Trump isn't just reactive. It's organized and institutional. California has passed dozens of state laws directly defying federal Trump-era policies, from vehicle emission standards to immigration enforcement. Demographically, the state is a nightmare for Trump's coalition. It has the largest Latino population in the U.S., over 15.7 million residents, or 40% of the state. And Trump's hardline immigration rhetoric, family separation policies, and opposition to DACA have alienated this entire voting bloc. Among Latinos in California, Trump's approval is a staggering 19%, according to 2025 Pew data. Education also plays a role. More than 35% of Californians hold a bachelor's degree, and higher education correlates strongly with anti-Trump sentiment. The tech industry, environmental lobby, Hollywood, and progressive nonprofits have turned Trump into a symbol of what not to be. In short, California doesn't just oppose Trump. It has turned opposing him into a central element of its political identity. Number 6, Massachusetts. Massachusetts is one of the most academically and politically elite states in the country, and in 2025, Trump's brand of populist nationalism remains deeply unpopular. He earned just 32% of the vote in the 2024 election, and his current approval rating in the Bay State is a meager 23% per Ipsos data. This hostility stems from Massachusetts' unique historical and cultural DNA. It's the birthplace of the American Revolution, but also modern liberalism, and Trump's anti-intellectual, confrontational approach clashes hard with its consensus-driven, data-minded electorate. With 44% of adults holding a graduate or professional degree, Massachusetts is among the most educated states in America, and Trump's attacks on universities, climate scientists, and the media don't play well here. Even the local GOP has distanced itself. In 2024, Trump-endorsed candidates in Massachusetts were resoundingly defeated in Republican primaries. Former Governor Charlie Baker, a moderate Republican who openly criticized Trump, remains one of the most popular figures in the state, and his wing of the party continues to hold influence. On policy, Massachusetts supports healthcare expansion, strict gun control, environmental protections, and racial equity. All areas where Trump's policies were either regressive or non-existent. Trump's association with January 6th, his criminal indictments, and his repeated attacks on democratic norms have only furthered the divide. In Massachusetts, Trump isn't just disapproved of, he's seen as a cultural outlier and moral danger. And in 2025, that judgment has only grown stronger. Number 5, Illinois. Illinois, especially dominated by Chicago and its surrounding metro area, has entrenched itself in opposition to Donald Trump. And in 2025, that opposition has deepened dramatically. Trump received only 34% of the statewide vote in 2024, and his approval rating this year has plunged to 26%, according to the University of Illinois' Center for State Politics. Chicago, home to nearly 2.7 million people, voted nearly 85% against Trump, and suburbs like Evanston, Naperville, and Oak Park have joined the chorus of rejection. The key lies in Illinois' diverse, urbanized population and progressive leanings. Over 62% of residents live in metro areas where issues like gun control, abortion access, and police reform are deeply personal. Trump's stance on all three is seen as regressive and antagonistic. Additionally, Illinois is a major union state, and Trump's anti-labor policies, from attacking teachers' unions to favoring corporate tax cuts, haven't gone unnoticed. Over 15% of the workforce is unionized, one of the highest rates in the Midwest. Furthermore, Trump's legal problems and divisive rhetoric have alienated independent voters, who now make up nearly 35% of the state's electorate. Illinois is also home to a large Black and Latino population, both of which heavily oppose Trump. His support among Black voters in Illinois is under 10%, while among Latinos it's around 18% per the latest Pew Research polling. Illinois doesn't just vote against Trump, it fundamentally rejects his vision for America. Number 4, Oregon. Oregon has been on the front lines of resistance to Trump since 2016, but by 2025, it's transformed into a state where Trump's political brand is outright toxic. In the 2024 election, he earned just 33% of the vote, and as of this year, his approval rating sits at a meager 25%, according to the Oregon Values and Beliefs Center. Much of this stems from Trump's handling of protests and policing. Portland, Oregon's largest city, became a national symbol of anti-Trump resistance during the George Floyd protests, and Trump's decision to deploy federal agents there in 2020 left deep scars. In 2025, residents still recall those events as governmental overreach and authoritarianism. Oregon's progressive stance on climate change, LGBTQ+ rights, and drug decriminalization also stands at odds with Trump's platform. The state legalized psilocybin therapy and implemented drug decriminalization laws, moves that Trump-aligned politicians heavily criticized. Meanwhile, 69% of Oregonians support strong climate action, and Trump's environmental rollbacks and support for fossil fuels are viewed as direct threats to Oregon's forests and fisheries. Educationally, the state leans blue-collar liberal, but urban areas like Eugene and Portland have high concentrations of college graduates and young voters, groups where Trump polls below 20%. Trump isn't just unpopular in Oregon, he's symbolic of everything the state's dominant culture aims to move away from. Number 3, New Mexico. New Mexico may not often dominate national headlines, but in 2025, its clear opposition to Donald Trump is striking. Trump's 2024 vote share here was only 36%, and his approval rating has sunk to 28%, according to polling from the University of New Mexico. What's behind the resistance? First, demographics. New Mexico has one of the highest Latino populations in the country, over 50% of the state. And among Latino voters here, Trump's approval is dismal, just 17% in the most recent Pew Hispanic Trends survey. His hardline immigration policies, rhetoric about the southern border, and proposed mass deportations have deeply alienated voters who see family, culture, and community under threat. Additionally, New Mexico is a state where climate and federal programs matter immensely. Trump's cuts to the national labs, including Los Alamos and Sandia, were widely condemned as thousands of New Mexicans depend on federal science, defense, and energy funding. Meanwhile, 73% of New Mexicans support climate change initiatives, while Trump's fossil fuel-heavy platform and rollback of EPA protections for native lands have angered both environmentalists and indigenous communities. Trump also struggles with rural voters here, not just urban ones, largely because New Mexico's rural culture is tied to land, tradition, and heritage, rather than the industrial nationalism Trump promotes. In 2025, Trump's image in New Mexico is that of an outsider trying to dismantle everything that makes the state unique. Number 2, New York. Trump's home state of New York may have once embraced his celebrity, but by 2025, the rejection is complete and bitter. Trump received just 30% of the vote in 2024, and his approval rating in the Empire State is currently at a rock-bottom 21%, per Quinnipiac's most recent state polling. New York City, with over 8.3 million people, voted nearly 87% against Trump, and even traditional Republican suburbs like Long Island are showing fatigue with his influence. The reason goes beyond politics. Trump's decades-long presence in the New York business and media scene has soured, from lawsuits and bankruptcies to public scandals. Today, he's more of a pariah than a native son. New York's diversity plays a major role. Over 40% of residents are non-white, and the state has a large immigrant population, particularly Latinos, South Asians, and Chinese Americans, who overwhelmingly oppose Trump's immigration policies. The Trump Organization's ongoing fraud investigations in Manhattan, coupled with civil judgments and indictments, have also fueled resentment. In 2025, many New Yorkers view Trump not just as politically wrong, but morally compromised. The state legislature has even passed Trump accountability bills, barring state funds from assisting candidates under federal indictment, clearly aimed at him. In New York, anti-Trump sentiment is personal, legal, and ideological all at once, and it's only getting more intense. Number 1. Washington, D.C. No surprise here. Washington, D.C. remains the U.S. jurisdiction with the deepest, most sustained disdain for Donald Trump. In the 2024 election, he received just 5% of the vote, a number that's barely budged in 2025. His approval rating in the district is an astonishingly low 13%, according to the latest Gallup polling. Trump has long painted D.C. as a swamp, but for residents, the majority of whom are highly educated, racially diverse, and politically engaged, his rhetoric feels both insulting and threatening. Nearly 47% of D.C. residents are Black, and Trump's racial justice policies, or lack thereof, his defense of Confederate monuments, and his use of the military against peaceful protesters in Lafayette Square in 2020 remain unforgiven flashpoints. D.C. is also uniquely federal. Tens of thousands of residents work in government agencies that Trump attacked or attempted to dismantle. The Department of Justice, the EPA, the State Department. These institutions are not abstract to D.C. citizens. They're where people work, live, and serve. Trump's attempted defunding, politicization, and vilification of these departments earned him not just disapproval, but fury. When Trump calls civil servants deep state operatives, he's referring to their neighbors, friends, and families. Culturally, D.C. represents pluralism, data-driven policy, and democratic process. Everything Trump has dismissed or mocked. In 2025, Trump isn't just disliked in Washington. He's treated as the face of political rot. And for this city, that means he's more unwelcome than anywhere else in America. That's the list of states that truly hate Donald Trump in 2025, and why the divide keeps growing. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe for more deep dives like this. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.